Hello and welcome back to the National Outdoor PodShow campsite for the very last time in this first series. Thank you for tuning in so far. We have had episodes on all areas of the outdoors, and for this final episode we are focusing in on hiking. We have a great episode coming up. Thank you so much for tuning in so far. Just one more episode to get your teeth into, and let's find out what's coming up later in this episode. It's a great one. We're kicking things off with the two-part interview with headline speaker Deon Barrett sitting down with Elise. Salomon are also here to talk through some kit with some new hiking shoes. Visorando are up next with some tech where you can check out their app for all things hiking. The Outdoor Guide are also talking through some excursions you can find in the UK. And finally, we sit down with the Ordnance Survey for some hiking advice, especially good for those who are trying out for the first time. I'm going to pass over to the host for the final intro of the season.
Hello everybody and welcome to the last episode of the National Outdoor PodShow. Thank you for sticking with us. Today's episode is all about hiking. We've got some people here who've done some awesome hikes and some really inspiring stuff that we're going to be talking about all the way through. But before we do that, I'd like to say a big thank you to Yonda for sponsoring the whole series. They've been amazing. They're giving away an ultimate swim bundle. If you check the show notes, then you can enter the competition for how to win that. But before we go into that, guys, I want to talk about hiking. Tell me about your hiking stories or your hiking dreams. What you got? Tanuka, I'm starting with you.
So the most amazing hike I've ever been on is in the Grand Canyon, and it's down to Havasupai Reservation, which is sort of the most beautiful place on the planet, in my opinion. And I hiked down there. It took me maybe like a good 6-7 hours.
It's hot down there, right?
It's hot and it's sandy.
Yeah.
So it's quite, you feel like you're going backwards, do you know what I mean? But it's so beautiful. And then when you get down to the bottom, the waterfalls, I mean, it's like red sand and like red rock and then bright turquoise lakes and waters and waterfalls. It's the most beautiful place I've ever been, and I hiked down there on my own.
On your own?
Yeah, on my own. And there was one point when I had to cross a river, put my bag on my head, and I stood there for about half an hour thinking someone's going to walk past and I'll know I'm going in the right direction, and no one came, and I just thought, screw it,
I'm going to die at the bottom of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I've just got to go. And the signs as to where to go are basically like all washed off the wall.
Yeah.
So it was a risk, but I did it and it was great.
You're still here?
Yeah, it was
But
amazing.
it's beautiful the way it changes colour as well, right? In the light.
Incredible. It's, I've never, awe-inspiring. It's amazing.
It's probably one of the most spectacular places I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like, it's definitely worth a go. I think if you go, maybe go on an organised hike. Don't just try and hike through a river and maybe die. Elise, what about you? Hiking stories?
Yeah, so I think I mentioned in an earlier episode, but like hiking, sort of how I got into the outdoors, being dragged around by my dad. I didn't really enjoy it at the time, but I've come back to it later in life. And I just think it's the best way to see a place. But I've done quite a lot of hiking in like the UK, in the Lake District, in Wales and Scotland, which obviously definitely poses its own dangers, but we don't have any deadly creatures. But I'm going out to America next week to hike in the Great Smoky Mountains for a couple of weeks, and it's like the most populated bear area of the States. So I'm a bit nervous about that, but very excited.
What are you taking?
Yeah, I've got a book about bears.
What, Winnie the Pooh?
Not Winnie the Pooh. A useful factual book about bears.
And
What do they?
Well, I haven't read
Are you
it
going to throw it at the bear, or are you going to use it?
Well, I'm not going till Wednesday, so.
Oh, you'll read that and you'll
Yeah.
be fine, and you'll know how to karate chop a bear.
But yeah, I'm quite excited.
Yeah, that's
Great.
epic.
That does sound amazing.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I think America has some really interesting hiking trails that you
Amazing.
can really go through.
And like a real big hiking culture. I've not been to the States before. It's my first time, so yeah, I'm really excited.
So I went to Boulder, and actually some of the hiking in Boulder is just insane. And actually that whole middle swathe of America, and actually the northeast, in fact all over America, is amazing.
Yeah.
So we often see like cities when we think of America, but we forget how much awesome terrain they have around.
I think that is the thing I love about hiking in general, that even when you go to a city, and my friends sometimes hate it because we'll go on a city break, and I'm like, there's a little area of trail over there.
Yeah.
But I just think we go to these really populated areas, and there are amazing trails and places to get outside, even when you think, oh, just in the city. And I think that's what I love about hiking. It gives you a bit of a different perspective on a place.
Yeah, and I think actually biggest tip I could give is follow the brown sign. Like there's always a brown sign that points saying Public Bridle Way or the acorns, which show the national trails. So I think things like that are really worth looking at because it can lead you into this beautiful place that you never even knew was there. So it's amazing. And actually that probably references back to the national trails who have got you might have seen the Shaun the Sheep in the background the whole way through. That's from the national trails. They're basically there to talk to you about observing the countryside code. So nationaltrails.co.uk, check it out. It's a really good source of information and it's got a bit of Shaun the Sheep action going on. So what's not to like? So for the rest of this episode, we're going to go straight into our next big interview. But before we do that, thanks again to Yonda for giving us the ultimate swim bundle. Check out the show notes for how to enter. Now on to the interview.
If you haven't heard of Deon before, then make sure to get settled in with a sit-down conversation with host Elise.
Hey, I'm here with Deon Barrett for today's guest interview. Hey Deon, thanks so much for coming to chat.
No problem at all.
How are you?
Yeah, good. Busy morning, getting family here and all the admin, and then getting on stage. But it was a really good kind of crowd, and it was heartwarming at the end when people came up to me saying I was inspirational, and that was the message I wanted to push. So.
Oh, amazing! And I'm really excited to be able to. We can share your story with people who weren't able to make it to the Outdoor Expo in person. So, if people don't know about your kind of background, give us just a bit of an intro. Yeah.
So to keep it short, I'm Deon Barrett. I'm a Londoner, Southwest London predominantly. Things were going really rough and sticky when I was growing up. I was tumbling down the wrong path basically, in all sorts of madness. But I did pull myself out of it and realigned myself and then joined the military. And I recently came out last year.
Okay, so how old were you when you joined the military?
I think I was 20.
Okay.
2014. Can't do the maths either. So I joined the military. That kind of re-engaged my passion for the outdoors, strangely enough. And I just saw I was capable more than the average kind of bod in there. And
had you spent much time outside before that, like as a kid?
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough that my mum was very, like, her mum and dad, my grandparents were like, they went to the Lake Districts, and I heard all these stories, and then she dragged me along to like holidays around the world and coastlines and what have you. And I didn't appreciate it then. I was a moody kid. And so when I grew up when I got into the army, essentially, that's when I kind of went, the needle drops kind of thing. And I realised that the importance of the outdoors when I was growing up had value as I grew up as an adult, and that was a good frame of reference, which I realised in my 30s.
I think there is something about just like having done it when you're a kid that's really, because I always say like, I wasn't sporty, like I didn't really started doing all this kind of stuff as an adult, but my dad was like dragging me out as a child, like exactly like you said, I was moody, I hated it, but I think just knowing it's sort of stuff that people do is actually like a massive gift, even if you hate every second of those like soggy walks as a child. It's just knowing, people walk up mountains and do these things.
Well, you get to see them because even like my friend, like my peers around me at the moment, they know I'm very much outdoors, but some of them haven't even seen a mountain, and I'm like, let's get out, and they just get blown away every time. So it's a good experience seeing new people in the landscapes, just in general. So it's definitely a good point of reference for us.
How did you find like being in the army? Because obviously there's a lot of like outdoor skills and like time when you're in the military, but did that make you, because I'm imagining that's not a laugh a minute, I imagine that's quite tough. How did that like, I guess, relate to how you sort of like enjoy the outdoors? Did it help or hinder? So
I think that's where the kind of growing up aspect came in. When I was like, let's say Cornwall sticks out to me, and we were at the beach, and my parents are like sunbathing or whatnot. I'm out going in the quarries and stuff like that, and just enjoying my own space and going, what's this, and figuring things out and being adventurous. And that came back when I joined the army. I was just like, I get to play like soldier. I was doing this as a kid, and I'm getting paid to be a soldier. It was an amazing experience. And then I looked around, like one time we were like in the training aspect of it. It was we're out in like the back area, which is the woodlands, and we're learning all the basics, and everyone's looking moody and miserable and just don't want to be there, and I'm there with a big grin on my face, and then that's where I was just like, okay, this is for me. Okay, so, and that was the first time something really called out to me, so I latched onto that as quick as possible and just really engaged in the kind of experience my trainers were giving me, and I think that just carried on with itself.
I think there is something in that, just like enjoying it, isn't it? Because I feel like sometimes when I'm talking, I do quite a lot of like running, and I sometimes struggle to tell the story of it with much like jeopardy, because I'm like, although it was like hard and cold, it's like I went and did something I liked doing, and I liked doing it, and like you like doing it because it's hard and cold and a bit difficult.
I like getting in the midst of it. I like getting dirty. I like just feeling challenged. I like seeing where my weaknesses are and where to learn within the outdoors. Like call it bushcraft. Like I'm not at all like as knowledgeable as I would, but it's definitely a keen interest of mine. Is like the survival aspect of it is very much an interest of mine, which hopefully leading on to my solo expeditions and stuff like that in the future. Will come apparent. If not, I'll be lost.
Yeah, because I think that being in the military must have given you like pretty good skills in that area. Because like you just said about like friends who've like never seen a mountain. I think for some of it, it's just such a daunting. Like where do I even start? So like those sort of skills like must be really useful.
Yeah, like I think a lot of it is I felt like was common sense to me, where for other people it was more like a steep learning curve. Where like navigation, learning maps was like I loved it, and that most of it was classroom based at the beginning. But that's where I was just like, let me learn, because I grew up in the age where we didn't have sat navs. We saw our mums driving with a massive map across the windscreen, and you're like, how are you navigating this? And
I honestly, when I learnt to drive, I was like, how did you get anywhere before GPS? Like, I just blew my mind.
And like just the little things, like these little Easter eggs for myself, where my passions were and what I was keen about, they all came through the military, which was really good for me. And that's why I joined. I wanted to be that man who I wasn't, and I was going down the wrong path, and it molded me into kind of getting back on track.
It's amazing, like transformation. So you said you've left the military, and you just mentioned some kind of solo expeditions you've got coming up. Can you tell us a bit what you're up to at the moment?
Yeah, so when I was leaving the military, it was kind of it ran its course, and I started the True North project, where originally it was going to climb Mount Everest and becoming one of the first black people to do it, and a lot of things in between. But I knew I wanted to highlight factors of like diversity in the outdoors. I knew young people, because of my experiences within the outdoors, was important. And I'm someone, I don't really, it sounds weird, but I don't really care about myself. I care about what I can provide. And because of that, I was just like, okay, I could develop this into hopefully something where I can help a lot of people. So I when I publicised about going on expeditions and Everest being the first one, that's when I was just like, okay, I need to do this properly. If I'm not here to complete my own challenge and go, hey, look at me. So then through the True North project, I then said, okay, I'm going to try and reform the school sector and modernise it and basically create outdoor education to become a part of the curriculum, especially for state schools, the underfunded, underprivileged and what have you. So that's kind of where we are currently, is getting outdoor education into the school curriculum. And then with my expeditions is hopefully that'll be like the kind of staple, the billboard of what I'm doing. It's the highlighting factor of like, if he can do it and he came from this, well, I can do it. And then that's pretty much what I want to be able to provide. And then I then recently, with Everest being a big target, a big goal, I thought, okay, I can actually do something else and put a bit more meat on the bone, so to speak. And my idea is to climb Everest, summit Everest successfully, have a little decompression after that, and then go and do a South Pole expedition solo, because that's a fascinating place. Like I wanted to do the North Pole, but I think just state of affairs with the North Pole is a difficult subject, and just access to the North Pole is quite tough. But the reason behind that, because the first expedition what went to the North Pole had a black man on it.
Yeah.
And he's noted down in history as the first person to actually touch the North Pole within the team. And his name was Matthew Henderson, and his story is fascinating, but not really told in the great scheme of things.
I've never heard of it.
So my aim is to kind of bring that to light as well, and hopefully document that and have a documentary there somewhere down the line, and within my own character, and see the transferable kind of the kit and equipment, what kind of trials and tribulations they went through, and what we've got given to us today. And then after that, I want to go to kind of every climate, every kind of hostile environment, like naturist-wise, like jungle. I want to do a solo or a two-man kind of kayak down the Amazon rainforest after that. And then we'll just see from there. But I love the being in the elements and testing my endurance within nature. It's a very freeing experience. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell at the moment.
That's, so much going on there. Like,
On to one of my favourite segments, it's the kit section, where we're sitting down with Salomon to talk through one of their brand new releases.
Welcome to the kit section of the pod show, and this is all about hiking. I'm joined with Laura from Solomon. You guys have got a busy stall out there this weekend.
So busy.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely rammed, but like really good vibes.
Yeah.
It's just nice to speak to everyone that like loves the outdoors and loves what you love.
Yeah.
And to be able to show them some new products that will get them out there. It's been really sick. It's been really
amazing.
Cool.
What are those new products? Seeing as it's the kit section, fill us in.
Conveniently brought a shoe with me. So we've got some new stuff. We've got some old favourites as well. So we've got like the Quests, the X Ultras.
Yeah.
Loads of trail running shoes as well, which is really cool, which is a new bit that we've had for the outdoor show this year.
Nice.
So we've got a couple of trail runners. We've got one of the guys on our stand, Kirk. He's an ultra runner. He goes for 100 miles, does UTMB.
Amazing.
He's awesome. So we've got the Genesis on stand, we've got Speed Cross on stand,
Nice.
And then we've got really cool new products. So we've got the X Ultra 360.
It's the new one.
Brand new.
Into
brand
it.
spanking new. Nice colour as well.
Loving the colour.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah.
So little bit of a splash of colour.
Yeah.
It is a great shoe. So fully waterproof, fully Gore-Tex, which is nice.
Nice.
Super grippy. So you've got hard on the outside where you want it, where you're going to hit rocks.
Yeah.
Soft on the inside. Cool thing about these though is we've used 50% recycled materials for the upper. So we're really trying to move forward with that sustainability. We're not there with 100% yet, but we will be. And then the mids, they're made out of recycled wires.
What kind of wires? What do you
Electrical
mean?
wires.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's just a really cool, and you'll be able to feel them. They're
Let's have a
super
go.
light.
Wishing that was my size. I could just run on home with them.
Just go. I mean, you've only got one, so you might walk in circles. But no, they're a great shoe, super light.
Wicked.
And the idea is that you can go from box straight out. You're not breaking them in for 6 months. You can just go straight out and do what you love, because at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, isn't it? Whatever kit you've got, it's just
and it's so important to have the right kit as well.
Yeah,
it's it's a game changer.
Yeah.
If you're out there with the wrong footwear or anything, it's just so hard to get in your flow.
It is.
Can throw you off.
It's a safety thing as well, but also you're going to enjoy it more.
Yeah.
So you don't need the most expensive kit. You don't. You can go out with whatever kit you've got, make it work. But if you can get the right kit, you're going to enjoy it so much more, and you're going to want to go out more. And at the end of the day, that's all we want people to do. We want people to have the most fun and being able to go as far as they want to, as they can, and just have the best time.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, really. So we've brought out shoe, a bit of a cheaper price point than we normally have.
Okay.
Just making it a bit more accessible to everyone, to be able to have the best experience outdoors.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
And what's your personal kind of favourite experience that you go out on with your shoes? With your Solomon products?
I'm a hiker, so I do a lot of hiking.
Yeah.
But I'm a forest school instructor as well, so I do a lot of bushcraft in the woods.
Nice.
And they're absolutely perfect for woodland trails, bog, picking kids up out of bogs. They are absolutely perfect for it, but loads of hiking in the Lake District. It's just nice to know that your feet are going to be dry.
Yeah.
And that you've got a grippy shoe under you. It's being looked after by the best. It's
Oh,
really great.
amazing. Love that.
Yeah.
Well, good luck out there.
Thank
I came
you.
and saw you earlier and I was just kind of like, you guys are so busy, so I didn't want to interrupt.
We've been really lucky, actually.
Yeah.
And everyone that come over has been really, really nice and
Yeah.
asking us loads of questions. And it's just nice to hear everyone's story and hang out. And it's great. It's nice that the NSC's brought us all together in this
It
space.
is, just being surrounded by like-minded people. It's like...
It makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
coming home.
It's just a really cool vibe. And you make new best friends you never thought you would.
Yeah, love that. Well, I'll see you out there, Laura. Thank you so
See
much.
you soon.
Yeah,
See you later.
soon. Moving on to the next section of the pod show.
Whether you want to go hiking in the UK or in Europe, Visorando might just have a walk for you. Find out how you can get involved.
Hi everybody, I'm here today for the tech section with Delphine from Visorando to hear more about their awesome app which can help you plan your hikes around the UK and also across Europe. So Delphine, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming along.
Thank you for welcoming me here. I hope my accent will be great for you.
Your accent is absolutely fantastic, so I'm sure our audience will love it. So tell me about Visorando. What do you do as a company?
So Visorando, it's a participative walking app and platform. We have a library of walks shared by people who love hiking. So it's made by walker for walkers. So you can find, prepare and share a walk with us. And each walk shared goes through a process where we read each description carefully with a team of volunteers and moderator before they are published.
So this is great because I often lack inspiration. So I travel quite a bit and then I'm like, I need to go somewhere, I need to go and do a hike and I have no idea where to go, and you just end up, sometimes you can go on those weird routes where you end up and you end up in a housing estate or something random. So this is a curated walk that can give me some inspiration. So how does it work? Do I tell you where I am and you give me some suggestions? How does that work?
So there is two ways. You have the mobile app where you just open the mobile app and you say search around walk around me.
Okay.
So you have a search bar and
can I search by distance
you.
and difficulty? Or?
Yeah, you can find distance, difficulties, a sport if you want to do cycling, hiking, skiing, horse riding or whatever. We have more contribution related to hiking, as one of the founders is a hiking mountain guide. And so you just go on the mobile app, search for walk duration you want. You have a list of walk ideas. And you just open it. You have a map. You can download the map offline, and you have a description as well and some reviews if some people contributed.
Oh, like a turn-by-turn descriptions?
Exactly.
So if you're rubbish at reading maps like me, then you can actually...
Exactly. It's really simple to use because one of the founders is really not very good at IT. So if he knows how to use it, so everyone can use it. That's a thing I have to say. So it's really that. It's if you don't know how to read a map, you can still read the step-by-step description so you can find yourself. And if you go out of the way, there is a ringtone telling you that you're out of the way and out of the pub, right? So the pub is that way, not this way. So it will tell you out, right?
and does it link to devices as well? So could I download the routes to my watches and things like that, or do you use it on a mobile phone? What's the best way to? So
most of people use it on the mobile phone. Yeah. Otherwise, other people they go on the laptop, on the desktop.
Right, gotcha.
So you have the same profile on the mobile app and the laptop. Yep. So you can find the walk you recorded on your mobile phone, for instance, on your laptop. And there you can either create your own route or find also routes on the laptop around you. And what's interesting from the laptop is that when you're on a worksheet, you can download the PDF. Yeah. And you can print out your map and your description to go out.
Brilliant.
Because it's so important we really insist on not relying too much on your mobile phone in case there is no battery anymore.
No battery worry.
So it's good to have everything. It's very important.
Fantastic. And how much does it cost to sort of sign up?
So you can pay monthly or per year. Per year, it's around £22.
For the year?
For the year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so what's interesting, what people like with that package is that you have many features, but most important is that you know that topographic maps such as OS Explorer is maybe around £10, just a little area. Here, for the full price, you have all the UK, and if you like to travel, you have also EGN, France, Swiss Topo, Belgium, Spain, and other maps for hiking. And they are very detailed maps, so you can go and enjoy that way too.
Sounds amazing. Well, you've got another customer here from all of that, so it sounds very interesting.
Well, I hope to see you. I'll see you how it sounds.
Well,
and,
well, look, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on and telling us a bit more about Visarondo. This has been the tech section. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I hope some of you are inspired to have a look. If they want to download the app or take a look for more details, what website do they go to?
So you go to visarondo.co.uk, and you can also check out on Facebook. We have a group of members. We can chat with you. We are Humane based. I come often to the UK. We'll be at the Chiltern Festival and Reading Festival this spring if you want to join a walk as well.
Sounds amazing. I think I just got invited for a walk and I'm going. Okay, thanks very much for joining us, and on to the next section.
Sorry for cutting you off earlier, Deon, but that's only because we want to come back for part 2 of your very inspirational interview coming up now.
Really interesting what you say about the outdoor education bit, because I went to a really rubbish state school. I don't think we had any sports teams. I was lucky my dad liked the outdoors, so we kind of done a bit of that. And I just thought sport was something other people did. I was if you run fast, and I was a bit chubby. I was that's not for me. Whereas I think if I'd got a chance to do that kind of stuff at school, I'd been oh, that's activity, that's exercise. Whereas I think we look at sports so narrowly, don't we? And it just doesn't fit for a lot of people.
That's not that is our first exposure to it really, and getting involved in it is the PE side of things, in school. So and another thing to take away from it, school's there to develop you for the future. So the outdoor industry is a really untapped, unless you're one of us here at an expo and getting out there and doing it, because we know how much it's benefiting us. Why aren't kids getting given this privilege to the extent we need it globally or just nationally? I think we need to highlight the fact that they can earn a living in this industry in general, and there's a lot to get from it and a lot to give. I think we can step away from just doing PE and running around in a sports field. And
just make it a bit more exciting. I still, if I have to, go for a run just, on the road around the town, I'm this is boring. But up a mountain, you're what an amazing place to be.
I think you're right, but I think that, when I started this journey, I had first heard of, schools doing residential walks, and I was okay, I've done that in my spare time, but it's got its place. It's an insight, and I think that has its place. But the schools need the funding. They need the capabilities to take people to, because we haven't got a lot of mountains around us, but I think we got a lot of national parks. Green space where it's not in between a fence and the playground and the buildings you spend most of your growing up life. I think it needs to be out there with a sensible environment, but you're learning. For instance, one of the schools I took out or helped on the ground was in Leeds. They went to the Yorkshire Dales, and a group of kids pointed at some sheep and said they were cows. So that just showed me the kind of the things we're losing out here. These are things we knew innately growing up, my generation for sure. And I think that's getting lost through either technology and just not really being switched on in that space.
Yeah, definitely. So the Everest expedition, do you know when that's going to happen? Or, so do you say no black people have climbed Everest?
No, they have. So when I started, the information was very, very limited. Okay. And then just as I was starting 2 years ago, last year, there was 10 people from America, African descent, and Caribbean descent, and they created a team, Full Circle, I believe they're called, and they climbed Everest successfully. I think 8 of them climbed, and that was great to see. Again, I'm not trying to climb Everest because I want to be a first at doing something. I'm using it as a highlighting factor that more of us can do this.
It's that representation, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I feel like you said, like for the great, it doesn't matter if it's you or someone else. Like that's being done now, and I imagine that's massive. Like
and
really
I applaud
empowering.
them. I applaud them. Like there's always going to be a sense of if I was going to become or be one of the first, that's a powerful thing. But if I'm not, that's not the end of it. But when I did start and I found out there was more people doing it, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to use that. I can't kind of highlight that. But that when you look at the stats and statistically, 0.1% have been black. So one of the first is still a good kind of a statement to make. And I think more of us need to dominate the outdoor space in that way, because I think black people do dominate like athletics and stuff like that quite strongly. So, and I think there's a lot of stereotypes within our own community. Like, why would we go to the hills and this, that? I used to be one of them. I used to take the mick out of my friends who would go out to the countryside and be like, what's that? But seeing more and more people become aware of it and like how like impactful it is for them and their communities, that's really good to see. So it doesn't matter who's the first, who's not. Like, just go out there and build your communities and get people out there. I think is really like we should be doing that. Yeah,
for sure. And I think if like I imagine like that, you want to get that percentage up. Like that's a horrible percentage, like 0. whatever. Like it's so small. So the more people doing this is the better. Like you don't want to be, I was first, but I'm the only person.
I think there's a lot of like rock and a hard place because you don't want so many on the mountain because there's obviously the kind of backlash from queuing and the rubbish and everything like that. As long as you're going out there with the right education, with the right means, and you're cleaning up after yourself and you're looking after what you're treading on, basically, I think go for it. Like, don't saturate it. Don't try to do something you probably haven't trained for or anything like that. I'm not saying everyone needs to go and climb Everest or whatever, but just get out there, be respectful of where you're going, and clean up after yourself is a big thing right now, right? So
I think it's just equipping people with that knowledge though, isn't it? Because I think we're sometimes really quick to criticise. There's always like Daily Mail front covers of like people go outside, there's litter and stuff, and obviously like it should be common sense not to litter on a mountain, but I think when we've just literally not done these kind of things before, they don't realise there's not going to be a bin up there. And I think it's just like educating. Like, we don't educate people. That we'll be like, oh, they've gone up in poor equipment. But how would you know? Like, if you've never been up a mountain, how would you know those shoes are wrong?
Yeah, you're right. And also with that, it's also like, unless if you're going out there and respecting it because you love it, right? You got to learn to love it. You then remember to take your rubbish. But if you're going out there for the first time on a whim that you saw a post on Instagram and you're like, oh, I want to do that, you're going to leave rubbish there because you think, oh, well, no one's going to see this. So, and like, you're not really caring for it. It's about introducing the outdoors experience to people, but also introducing that passion to look after it. It doesn't, and I use these words in a matter of less or better words, but it doesn't have to be like this tree hugger mentality of like almost hippie-ish. It just needs to be, look, this is our land, this is our world, this is like, you got to respect it because you appreciate it. Everyone does. If you're going out there, you're going out there because you want to experience it. So don't leave rubbish. Like, it's just that simple.
I think that's like, I feel like I could chat to you all day, but I feel like that's a nice message to end on. I know you've got lunch to go and eat. But if anyone wants to kind of follow along or get involved in the True North project, then like where can they find you?
So the website's up. It's truenorthproject.co.uk, or you got the Instagram where I'm probably most active is at truenorth_project_.
Cool, thanks so much, Deon. It was great to chat to you.
You too.
From Europe to centering in on the UK with this excursion chat with the Outdoor Guide with some amazing initiatives.
Hi guys, I'm here at the National Outdoor Expo with Gina from the Outdoor Guide, and we're going to talk about the Outdoor Guide. So Gina, firstly, tell us what the Outdoor Guide is.
So the Outdoor Guide is 10 years old, finally, and it's a free online resource about where to go, what to do, primarily around walks, because my sister is Julia Bradbury, who is known for walking, so we basically built an information portal about the outdoors around everything that she's done
Amazing.
and is doing.
So, and in terms of, so I go onto there and I go, right, I want to find a walk, and I can search by location?
Yes,
or?
location, you can search family friendly, dog friendly. They're all curated, so there's not thousands.
Oh, brilliant.
There's hundreds of curated walks, and on every walk page it's got where to stay, just suggestions. It's suggestions of close places to stay, the local train station, bus station, parking, toilets, all the useful.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, useful information. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, and the website is
theoutdoorguide.co.uk.
fantastic. So check out theoutdoorguide.co.uk for more information on walks, etc. While we've got you, I want to talk to you about waterproofs and wellies, because it's something we're very passionate about, and I think it's great. So tell us what that is.
Well, so on the one hand of the Outdoor Guide, we're telling everybody to go outdoors, hug a tree, how good it is for your mental health, well-being, etc. And the statistic is that children today get outside less than prison inmates.
I think it's 75% of children get it. Is that right, or is
a third of children get outside less than prison inmates. And so I thought, in lockdown, funnily enough, what can I do? What are the barriers, and what can I do to help break down those barriers? One of the key barriers in state primary schools is that a third of the children in classes do not have a coat and do not have a pair of waterproof shoes. In some cases, the kids go to school in flip-flops all the year round, because flip-flops are easier sized rather than a shoe where the kids' feet are squashed up. So I raise money from anybody that will donate, and I buy navy blue, plain navy, waterproof jackets, trousers, and the good old Dunlop, here's one I prepared earlier, Dunlop welly boot.
Yeah.
And I can supply today 10 sets of various sizes to a state primary school for 350 quid.
That's amazing. So if people want to learn more about waterproofs and wellies, where do they find out?
theoutdoorguidefoundation.org.
Perfect. That's amazing. So we're big supporters of that.
I
We're
know
a big
you
supporter
are,
of you.
and I
You're
thank
amazing.
you. And I have to thank Raccoon, because you have supported me, A, with the Outdoor Guide, and B, with the foundation since we started, and I'm very grateful for that.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on. So it's lovely to see you, Gina.
And you.
On to the next section.
Time now to fly over to the Ordnance Survey conversation for a bit of advice, especially good for those who want to try out hiking for the first time.
Hi there, and welcome back to the advice section of the pod show. Today I'm talking about all things hiking, and I'm here with Ordnance Survey. Nick, please fill me in a little bit about what you guys do and what you're all about.
Well, good afternoon. Great to see you, and great to talk about my favourite subject, hiking.
Yeah, man.
So, fundamentally, Ordnance Survey is about helping people get outside more often. And actually, if we can do that through our maps, in terms of what's the first thing you think about when you're going out for a hike is, where am I going to go?
Yeah.
So, that's where a map obviously comes in. So being able to actually understand that is really easy. Mm-hmm. It's not as complicated as some people think. You kind of open up this big sheet and it's full of hieroglyphics, and it's not that bad. There's a simple guide, and you can download the guide off our website, os.uk. And that will give you all the skills you need in about 10 minutes. So it's not that hard. So, the first thing is about where to go. If we can solve that, then actually, you're halfway to your adventure, and that fundamentally is what a map gives you. It's not so much the map; it's about what the map enables you to do, which is like get outside.
Yeah, and to go and experience the outdoors and find new places.
Exactly, and finding new places is if we go back to the pandemic. Actually, we sold loads of maps.
Yeah, I can
because
imagine.
People are just trying to find places on their doorstep.
Yeah.
That just shows you, actually, even your local area, there'll be places you haven't discovered yet. Alistair Humphreys did a challenge during the pandemic, and he took his local map and he walked every path and every square on that map. It took him months to do that, and there's so many adventures that you can have on just one piece of paper.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be paper. I mean, now most of what we do is actually digital.
Yeah, fill me in a little bit about this digital side of things, because that's normally, if I was going out, I would instantly think of something that I can digitalise. I'd love to hear more about that.
Our mapping, we're kind of known for pink and orange maps, and most people, they come into our building, they expect to see two big printers, one printing pink maps, one printing orange maps. They're woefully disappointed because we don't have that. But most of it is technology, and we've been digitising that mapping since 1970s. So we were kind of at the forefront of actually taking maps from their sort of image form to making them actually useful. So you can route on them. So you think about, what we all use Google Maps for. We use Google Maps too.
Yeah.
To navigate around a town or city. It's very, very straightforward. It gives you directions. But in the great outdoors, and actually the paths that you need to take, and the paths that you're allowed to take, it's difficult to get that sort of information. And that's where OS Maps, which is our mobile app, comes into its force. So it's the UK's most popular outdoor navigation app. Third biggest in the world. We're only really UK. So it gives you an idea of sort of maps. So we help about 8 million people every year to go out and find new adventures. So it's not just about the map. The map is there to sort of show you where to go, but most of that is about the route. So where am I going to go? Where's somewhere good? Has someone else done this before?
Yeah, like advice on ones to do and the most popular routes to do in the area.
Is it fit for my ability? So actually there might be certain things like climbing Snowdon along the Pig and the Miners, relatively straightforward. Going up Crib Goch is a different matter, and I don't like that, to be quite honest. I'm not a big fan of heights, but that can be a little bit harrowing, especially if the weather closes in and you're not quite sure where you're going. So it's enables you to understand what you're going out to do before you actually go out and do it, which is then we can sort of make those good decisions that we need to make when we're in the outdoors, and stay safe.
Yeah. And is there any sort of advice you have for people who are just starting out, who haven't really been hiking before, maybe like city dwellers and things like that, about how to get started with ordnance?
I mean, you can start just in your local park. It can be as simple as that. And actually, an outdoor adventure, for one person, doesn't have to be the same as everybody. This is not about summiting Everest necessarily. I mean, some people that floats their boat. I would never want to do that. to be totally
enough.
on camera. and Mike keeps trying to get me to do that. No, I'm not doing that. But actually just going out and just trying to find and orientate yourself around your local area. And it could be a local woodland, local paths. Find something that is right for your ability.
Yeah.
And don't overestimate your ability, because, things like the weather turn quite quickly. Things like the conditions can change. The path, might be a tree down. Actually, you can get lost. You can get disorientated. So you can learn how to read a map in a relatively safe environment. Not going out into the Cairngorms where you could kind of wander for days and not see a soul. So start small. Tell someone where you're going. Tell someone when you're going to come back. It just helps, if you do get into trouble, if you're out on your own, you injure yourself or you can't move any further forward, then at least somebody knows roughly where you're going, which helps the guys from Mountain Rescue if they're needed to come out to come and find you.
Yeah.
There's a couple of really simple free tools that we've got on our site. There's an app called OS Locate, which will always tell you where you are on a map. So it gives you a grid reference, so you can then work that out, and that does. So quite often I use that. I get lost probably more than anybody because I use the products quite a lot.
Yeah.
and I like to try and do that to then try and work out, okay, how do I get back? That's part of the challenge. But so set your sights to where they need to. Take some kit, take some chocolate, take something that will just keep you going, just in case. So always have a backpack, bit of water. Yeah. Always useful. Just stay safe and enjoy it, really.
Yeah.
Taking the sounds, taking the
sounds and the sights. I went hiking the other day, and I think my top tip would be to bring either a physical map or a phone charger. Because I went off and I left, it was really stupid, I left with like 15% battery on my phone, and I was using the maps, and I came down to about 2% or something like that, and I was still sort of like half an hour back from home. And without it, you realise how lost you can actually get when you're off, just going off on the trails and stuff like that. Yeah, so I think my top tip would be, bring a phone charger.
Bring a phone charger. Well. And equally, if you drop your phone in a puddle.
That's true.
That's happened to me before now, and I've had to resort back to the map. So we always say take both.
Yeah.
And the guys at Mountain Rescue would kind of always back that up in terms of, take a map, know how to read it.
Yeah.
Your phone's really useful, and actually they use the phone, they use OS Maps themselves. So, it will help you find out where you are and where you need to get to. But if you know how to read a paper map, then you're always going to actually be able to get yourself home, which is, let's face it, what we want to go out and have the adventures.
Yeah.
The type 2 fun of being lost and stranded in the woods for like 3 days and coming back.
Fun after a while,
isn't that fun at the time? It's better in the pub afterwards, clearly.
Yeah.
But
yeah, fair enough. How is it going today at the expo for you guys?
So busy.
Yeah.
In fact, this is a relief. I can sit here and talk all day because it's the first time all day I've sat down.
Yeah. Fair.
So we've had a constant stream of people through. Even walking through the corridors, there's a real good buzz. Lots of people that want to talk to you, want to understand more, it's been great for There's some great products that we got on the stand, and they seem to be flying off. So.
Yeah, what products have you got on the stand?
We've got obviously we've got maps.
Yeah.
We're quite good at maps. We've been doing that for about 230 years now, so we've got loads of those.
Incredible.
We're talking a lot about the mobile app and OS Maps and how that can help you, how that can make your outdoor adventures easier to either plan or actually do. And then we've got a whole range of sort of accessory products, from like thermos flasks through to sit
everything
maps
you need for your adventure.
Anything. If you like a map and you like outdoor kit, we've got probably most outdoor kit with a map on it.
Oh, incredible. Incredible. Well, thank you so much for your time today.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I'll come out and see you on the booth as well if it's not too busy out there.
Please do.
Yeah, will do.
Thank you guys, we have almost made it to the end of the episode and the series. Just a final throwback to the host for a little bit of a goodbye.
Thank you, everybody. That was the end of the first series of the National Outdoor PodShow. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. We've had great fun making it, and hopefully we've given you some inspiration and some advice for how to get outdoors safely. Before we leave you, I want to talk to our awesome hosts about their next big challenges. So, Elise, we're going to start with you. You've talked about a couple of the challenges. Do you want to give us a bit more detail as to what you've got coming up?
Yeah, so I guess my main thing I've got in for this year is I mentioned the CCC race I was doing at the end of August. That's a 100-kilometre mountain ultra, basically starting in Cormier and running back to Chamonix in the French Alps. So it's 100k with about 6,000 metres of elevation. So quite a lot of up and down, which I'm a bit nervous about. It'll be the furthest I've actually ran in a single day. So
contextualise that, because I think 100k, that's 62 miles. So what would that compare to? It's like...
So I guess it's like doing almost 2.5 marathons going up and down Snowdon 6 times.
That's incredible.
Basically,
and
for a bit
how,
of context.
How long will it take you to do?
That is a big question. My friend, who we're often quite similar speeds, did it a couple of years ago, and I think it took her about 20 hours. So but I've really got no idea, to be honest. So I'm really excited. I just it's quite an iconic race, and you have to kind of get points to qualify for it. So it's been a few years in the making to get to the start line. So and I just think I've done the trail over 3 days actually before as like a multi-day adventure, and I just remember thinking, how do people do this in a day?
I know, you don't like to do it.
Yeah, so I'm kind of just trying to spend the next 6 months spending as much time going up and down hills as possible in preparation for that.
So 20 hours on feet as well is a long time on feet. Yeah. You're eating at aid stations. It's a hell of an undertaking. So good luck to you.
Eating's the bit I'm good at though.
Yeah, that's the best bit about ultra running, right? You get good food. It's all about the snacks. Nice. Tanuke, what have you got coming up?
So I'm actually off to Kenya in a couple of weeks, which I'm really excited about.
Can we come?
Well, we need to go do Kilimanjaro.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Yeah,
right there, isn't it? So I'm off to Kenya to go and do like safari stuff, which I've never done before. Nice. I've never done any of that. And then hopefully in the summer, I'm planning to go and to hike around Switzerland, which I'm very much looking forward to. And do a whole bunch of extreme activities like bungee jumping, skydiving, all of that fun adrenaline stuff, which I'm a bit addicted to.
Yeah,
well, that's pretty cool. We haven't covered much about that. We need like an adrenaline section.
We do, yeah.
When we do series 2,
we need then
we'll get some free bungee jumps and parachute jumping and things like that as well.
We could record an episode from the plane.
Just nice. Have you ever done a parachute jump?
Yeah. I have. I did it in New Zealand. I was there for work actually, and 2 of my colleagues were going to do it, and I wasn't that interested. I wanted to go rafting, but they cancelled my rafting trip. So I was like,
chucked you out of a plane.
Might as well go in and do it. It was fun.
Do you do it tandem?
Yeah.
And did you do the same?
Yeah.
And
loved it.
Did you? I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually a brilliant experience, and it's just a different way to experience nature.
Yeah. I actually went wing walking the other day.
What?
Which was hilarious. Basically, they strap you to the top of a plane and just fly you around. I didn't quite do loop-de-loop, but it was like up, down, nose dives.
You have like a really cool life.
It's very random.
So many activities.
So many activities.
So I think going forwards, the pod show is, I think we're going to, if we do this again next year, we're each going to take an episode where we take each other on an adventure.
That's a great idea.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
So If you want us to do that, well, you better like and share and do all the social media stuff that Dom probably tells you to do every time you listen to this episode. But please do that, because we've really enjoyed this. I hope you have too. Hopefully it's been useful. A huge thank you again to Yonda for sponsoring us. They've made this happen. They're giving away an Ultimate Swim bundle. You know the drill by now. Check the show notes for how to enter that competition. It leaves for me, for now, to say goodbye. A big thank you to Elise and to Nuke for helping make this a credible podcast. And we look forward to seeing you hopefully this time next year when we do it all again.
It's a sign-off from the host, but it's also a sign-off from me, Dom, who's been narrating us through this series. Thank you so much to everyone who has tuned in, and also a thank you from me to our sponsors, Yonda. They have been giving away an amazing prize, so it's not too late to enter that now. Check out the notes in the description, as Mike has been saying all through the series. Make sure to let us know what you think. Do all of the fun things, like, comment, subscribe, all of that. Share with someone who you think would enjoy it just as much as you, so we can bring it back next year with even more insight, education, and inspiration. Thank you so much, and enjoy the outdoors.